you've already touched on this, but can you say a little bit more about the theory of nonviolence and how it connected to your Christianity and to your both tactical and theological perspectives about the movement?
Well, you're right. It had a practical aspect and it had a theological aspect. From the practical perspective, we looked at our army, and we weren't many of us. We didn't have any weapons. We didn't have any uniforms. And we looked at the National Guard and the state troopers and the deputy sheriffs and police in cities, and we were outmanned. So that from a very practical perspective, we could not have won a violent confrontation. It would have been catastrophic for us. And it's also interesting that the white organizations, the Ku Klux Klan and others, they didn't know how to deal with nonviolence. They were frustrated because the more they were violent against nonviolent people, the more they were criticized, and the more the world saw them for what they were and began to sympathize and support even those who may not have first supported sit-ins and direct action were disgusted with the violence, and it turned the tide. The other side, the theological side, was very, because if you notice, the leadership in the movement was almost always preachers and in the churches, and there were two reasons for that. One was the preacher was the most independent leader in the community. He was accountable to the congregation, not to the Chamber of Commerce. And so therefore, he could withstand oppression from the white community, economic oppression as well, otherwise, better than anybody else. And secondly, the example of Jesus and the teachings, particularly in the New Testament, led us to nonviolence. Jesus on the cross asked his Father to forgive those who had nailed him to the cross. And that spirit of non-violence and non-retaliation and non-hatred of those who had hated you was the thing that we went through, so that theologically we were committed to love and love your enemy, as the New Testament says, and bless those who persecute you. And we discovered that it was not only effective, it was outwardly, but it was effective inwardly for us. We became new creatures because we pursued that theology, and we actually avoided hating